Welcome to today's episode of the Decimal of the Day Show. Hello, all you fifth graders out there in computer land. I see students from Johnson. I see some students from Jefferson. I see some students from Lincoln. There's my Jackson group, and there is the Roosevelt group. So thanks all of you for joining today's episode of Decimal of the Day. Remember, the first thing that we have to do before we can write this decimal in word form is to say it. There's no whole numbers, so I'm just going to say the first name, 789. Then it's your task to figure out its last name, which is the value of the last place value spot. So push pause, get out your paper and pencil, and go ahead and write this decimal number in word form for me, please. Okay, now that you're back, we're going to look at our decimal. I already told you its first name, which was 789. So what you should have written on your paper is 789. Now, you had to identify the place value of the digit 9. So, is there someone out there in computer land who would like to tell me what this decimal's last name is? Okay, yeah, how about you right here? Thousands, you are correct. 789 thousandths. Now, we're going to write this in expanded form. I have been calling up some friends from the audience to do that, and I have a special friend with me today who would like to come back and do this for you. Excuse me just a moment. Let me see if I can get him to come up here. Hello, Earthlings. Everybody say hi to Joe. Remember that Joe is from the planet of no math. He didn't know any math at all, so he's been here learning right along with you. And as you saw on our first decimal of the day, he really loves writing decimals in expanded form. It's one of my favorite things to do. It's one of his favorite things to do. So he wants to help us out here today. Now remember, Joe, your prize for getting this correct is absolutely nothing. Woo! That does not even make sense. Well, we're just having fun now, Joe. Okay, what can you tell us? Help me out here. Okay, Mrs. Salyer. The 7 is in the tens place. You need to put 7 times 1/10. Okay, so Joe says I need to do 7 times 1/10 plus 8 times 1/100th, 8 times 1/100th plus... Hey, are you guys out in Computer Lounge shouting the answers out to him? Joe! No cheating. I want you to use your brain. Okay. Thanks, Earthlings. I will do this one on my own. Okay. The 9 is in the thousandth place. So I think that would be 1 times 1,000. Okay. So you're thinking it would be 9 times 1,000? No, a fraction. 1/1000th. Okay, so you think it would be 9 times 1. Goodness, I can't write today, Joe. Okay, so how about Joe's friends out there in computer land? Do you agree that this is how I would write this number in expanded form? Joe, I think you got it right. Yay! He's very excited. Why don't you go back out in the audience and have a seat, Joe, and calm down a little bit. He loves doing his mathematics. Okay, so now what I want you to do on your paper pencil is I want you to set up your page to look like this. You're going to write 789 thousandths 3 times with the line there. And you've probably already been able to guess what we're going to do. We're going to do some rounding. We're going to round to the nearest tenth, hundredth, and whole number. Okay? So if we're rounding to the nearest tenth, you know what you need to do, to the hundredth and to the whole number. So, the board's about to fall off here. Okay, so what I'm going to ask you to do is to push pause, and what I'd like for you to do is to round each of these numbers to the tenth, the nearest hundredth, and the nearest whole number. Then unpause, come back, and we'll check your answers. Okay. You first had to determine which digit was in the tenths place. That's the 7. We're going to look at the next door neighbor. The neighbor is 5 or more, so we're going to raise the score. So you should have answered 0.8, but the way that we really read that number is 8 tenths. To the nearest hundredth, the 8 is the digit in the hundredths place. The neighbor is 9. So again, it's 5 or more, so we're going to raise that score to 0.79. If we're looking at the whole number, the 0 is in the ones place for the whole number. The neighbor's a 7. It's 5 or more, so we're going to raise the score. So this number is closer to 1 than it is to 0, and that is our rounding. If I were going to compare this number, 789 thousandths, to 7 89 hundredths, using the method that I've taught you, let me change so you can see it right here, I would line these numbers up vertically, one on top of the other. Make sure your decimal points are lined up. Okay. Well, the first thing that I'm going to look at here, following the method that I've taught you, is the ones place. And I see a 0 and a 7. Well, obviously, the 7 is going to be more, which means that 789 thousandths is less than 7 89 hundredths. Remember, I always have trouble knowing which way the greater than and less than sign goes, but I think about it being an alligator mouth. And the alligator is always eating the larger number. So thank you once again for joining us for this new episode of Decimal of the Day. I hope that you are really learning these decimals and getting ready to move on and learn more things. So please join me again on this same channel in Computerland for the next episode of Decimal of the Day Show.